Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 horror thriller Triggered, a film that is directed by Alistair Orr and it stars Rain Swart, Liesl Arles, Soraya Rose Santos, Steve John Ward, Cameron Scott and Craig Urbani. Now this film tells the tale of a group of teens that are camping out in the middle of nowhere. They kind of get dragged there by one friend. Some of them aren't happy about it, complaining, but in actual fact they've been manipulated to all be there at this certain point by someone from their past. He ends up gassing them, strapping bombs to their chests in like these vests that they can't remove, and the idea is it will turn friends into enemies, and you have to kill your friends to survive, because there's a timer on your vest. When the timer runs out, your vest explodes, but if you kill somebody you will earn the time that they have on their vest, and it will transfer to your vest to give you more time to live. So essentially it's a fight for survival, to see who's going to live, because only one is going to get out of the woods alive. Right, what are my thoughts on Triggered? Well, I must admit I wasn't expecting an awful lot from this film. Let's be honest, the concept has been done before many times, and it's a combination of those sort of films and things like the Belko Experiment as well. That was a great film where, you know, ordinary people have to turn into killers to survive, and they've kind of blended that with that genre thing we've all seen, you know, a bit like a Saw film sort of thing. But actually I enjoyed this more than I expected to. That's not to say it's a great film, because I don't think it is. It's certainly a watchable film, and the concept is interesting enough. I think what I didn't like about this film was essentially many of the characters in it were deeply unlikable for much of the film. There was a small handful of them that you could tolerate, and for the most part as well, they all kind of played the part they were given. So you've got the jock that's supposedly cheating on his girlfriend, you've got the smart ass one, you've got the nasty one, you've got the smart girl, you've got the quiet girl. You know, it's the cliches that we've seen time and time again. No real surprises here, and everybody kind of plays the role that they've been given. What I was kind of hoping for was some real surprises in the film with some of these characters, and there's a couple of characters. To be fair, there is a couple of characters that kind of change their stripes at some point in the film, and who you thought they were, they actually aren't. Kind of, but there's no real protagonist that stands leaps shoulders above the others in regards to, yes, that's the hero of this piece. It does kind of jump around, if you like, as to right, who's going to survive this, who do I want to survive this. And the simple fact is there's not an awful lot of them that you look at and think, well, yeah, they deserve to survive. And then it gets to a point in the film where it hits you like a slap across the face. Oh, it's this one. Oh, of course it's this one. And then from that point on, there literally is no surprises really left in the film. Well, it wasn't for me anyway. The level of gore here is somewhere middling. You get scenes of violence here that, while not gratuitous or over the top, it does its job. You get the message. There's plenty of blood and violent scenes here and there, but it never really goes completely over the top. So gore fans out there, you might be a little bit disappointed, but that's not to say there isn't some blood and guts here, because there certainly is. It also suffers a little bit, this film, from a bit of an identity crisis. It doesn't know at times whether it wants to be serious or funny. You've got a couple of characters firing out one-liners at the most inappropriate times, and it just doesn't hit at all. I don't think the humour in this film, what it's trying to do, it just didn't feel like the humour deserved to be. It'd be like putting humour in, a really serious slasher film, something like that. It just didn't seem to fit, and you got these characters still doing wisecracks at the most ridiculous times when they're getting battered, you know, or they're getting things chopped off, or whatever, or they're trying to murder somebody. They're firing out these one-liners that they were doing at the beginning of the film when they were all supposedly friendly. So it does suffer a little bit from an identity crisis, and I'm just not sure the attempt at humour works here. And the dialogue here doesn't help the film. It is pretty poor, the dialogue, for the most part, and it's constantly trying to be meta and referencing other horror movies and things like that, and that's been done to death. It's boring now, that, and it feels like something from the 90s when they start doing that kind of stuff, and the dialogue itself feels like something from the 90s. They didn't feel, if you like real people, some of these. And the setup, I thought, was a little bit poorly done, and by that I mean the reason they're all put there at this one place was for someone from their past to get revenge, which they kind of reference very briefly at the beginning, but it would have been nicer to have a better point of reference and maybe a flashback scene at some point, because everything that's happening to them, all these terrible things on this night, is because of this event that happened to them previously where someone died, and they were all involved. But you don't see any of that, you don't see the repercussions of that, you only see it in some brief dialogue options between characters about how it affected them. But we didn't see it, so we're not affected by it at all, if you like. However, it's a fairly disposable but fairly entertaining horror thriller here. There's some good brutal scenes here and there. It is certainly watchable, and but it's not one of those that I think you're gonna, you know, be overjoyed with or anything like that. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It impressed me a little bit more than I expected it to. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. So that is my review for Triggered. I hope you liked it. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, guys, I've just hit 4,000 subscribers. I'm going to do a Q&A in a few weeks. If you would like to leave me a question for that Q&A, you are most welcome. Please do so in the comments, and of course you'll get a shout out when I do the video as well on the Q&A. So thanks for watching, everybody, and of course I will see you back with more content on Screen Stars very, very soon.